Greetings and welcome to this episode of Everyday Enchantment. I am your host, Stacey, and today I want to teach you a game that I don't know, I started playing and I've seen it around the social, so maybe we're all getting tabbed with these enchanting games. And it started with just an idea I had when I was doing some business training with some executive leaders, and we were talking about conflicts and things that cause a lot of stress and frustration. And again, it doesn't have to be business leaders. You can have frustration and stress in your life, no matter who you are. You can have conflict with a friend or a family member or partner or spouse. And it just can just totally get you all sideways, as I would say. And it could even be a situation. It doesn't have to be something with somebody else. And so what I started to think about was this rule of five and this idea of, do I care? Will I care about this 5 minutes from now? Usually the answer when it gets us all hot and bothered is yes. So I will say I had a little snafu with someone recently. I hired them to do something and then it didn't go exactly as planned, and I was very frustrated. And if you ask me if I would care about this in 5 minutes, I absolutely would. And then I start to say, okay, would I care about this 5 hours from now? Yeah, probably still. And then we go out a little bit further, 5 days from now. I want you to notice how the energy shifts when you play with time. This is the part that becomes enchanting because so often we can be kind of stuck in the situation in that moment. And this gives us the ability to flex time a little bit and perspective and energy. So after you ask those questions, I want you to keep going. So we said 5 days. I want you to say, how do I think I'll feel about this? Will it have the same energy 5 weeks from now, 5 months from now? And really feel into it, because that's the place where, again, delight and joy can be hanging out, because we might say, no, I'll be moved on to something. I'm sure in 5 weeks, I might not even remember this issue. And it starts to help us get a sense of what really truly is the energy of this situation. Is it just a minor aggravation, like somebody cut us off in traffic, and 5 hours from now, we will be wondering what we're having or making for dinner, versus 5 months from now, if it was a betrayal or something that happened more significant. It also is a barometer to tell us how much energy we actually want to spend on something. So something that we'll still be thinking about 5 months from now, 5 years from now, that has a different impact on us than these smaller things. Because in the moment, at least for me, when I am in an emotion like anger, I have a hard time seeing that 5 years from now. Yeah, I might not even remember this situation, might not even remember, or I might remember it differently. Like it was a small bump, or you know what, it taught me to be more careful about, selecting people or choosing people or whatever the case may be. And that the gift of whatever that is what lingers. And the anger or the other emotional kind of that quick fire response has faded. So I love to play with this as a tool all the time in terms of anytime something's bothering me. And I also love to think about it from, because we don't think about the things that delight us so much. Do I want to remember this 5 years from now? How do I want to cement this into a beautiful place on my life's timeline in a way that it does continue to carry significance? And for me, sometimes, like if it's a trip, like let's say, for example, I had a really memorable trip and I want to remember it, it is going to still hold value for me 5 months, 5 years from now. I like to anchor it into the present moment or into my kind of reality. Maybe I'll have a picture, right, of the place where I went. I'll hang it somewhere in my house special, or I'll buy a special piece of jewelry or art or something to, again, to connect to that energy. So we can allow energy to move through us. And we can also play with energy, right, as a way to carry the things that really had significance in our lives with us all the time. To me, it's like adjusting your own energetic barometers. Ooh, I want to turn up these things, and the other things I'm just going to flush all the way through, right? So you just get to play with a system that works for you. And it can be kind of a game. I like to think about it like a game, because when we are in that kind of game mindset shift, like instead of just being in it, it can give us, again, some wiggle room to look at something different. And if you are a leader, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a person walking around this planet, I want you to think of the latest thing that really aggravated you or is still aggravating you right now. And I want you to just to pull yourself energetically out to see where the shift is. Maybe it's between 5 months. Maybe it's at the 5-year mark. Maybe you go out a little bit even further than that. You pull it in. But we have the ability to play more with time. Time is not this static function that, we were taught. It really has some bend and some flexibility. And you have the power and the ability. This is where your superpowers of intuitive enchantment come in. And again, I'm not asking you to do something complicated or something so foreign. I want you just to ask some questions. That's part of the enchantment process. So asking yourself, ooh, what would make it different in the future? Right now, you could even turn my question around a little bit and make it something a little bit different. Well, what would help me really remember the energy of this beautiful moment? I want to carry it with me for my confidence. It's funny, years ago when I was presenting my master's project in education, it was really nerve-wracking for me, and I was really scared. The person that was the professor in charge of my project was very intimidating, and it was kind of rumored that it was really hard to get a good grade. And all these things mattered to me back then. And I remember just going into this zone and just being in this beautiful place, and the presentation was amazing. And so I want to remember that energy 5 years from now. I want to, when I was going through my divorce, call up the person that stood in that moment of fear and slight intimidation and rocked it out. So again, it's not just about forgetting things. It's about using the energy of our lives in ways that aligns with the intention of how you want to be in this world. If you want to be somebody who really feels empowered by who you actually are, not who you think you're supposed to be, but who you are. How do you want to be in relationship with the experiences? You have a lot more control of not necessarily exactly what happens to you, but the relationship between you and the thing and how you use it to support you. Or, I mean, you could have a situation. I've had traumatic situations that happened to me when I was young that I absolutely kind of used against me. Like just the opposite of my example about how I summoned all that courage through my master's presentation. There were times where I felt really beaten down. It's not that these experiences didn't happen to me, but it's, again, what is the energy of what I want to pull and withdraw from that? I want to say, man, I was a badass. I got through some really tough shit in my life. And as a result, I can call that energy back versus the energy of feeling like a victim and I can't ever get ahead. So I know we kind of meandered around a little bit this original question, but it goes to the heart of you being able, again, to be the author of your life and the way that life experiences everything. That experience, those questions, everything is energy. So what do I want to be feeling and doing 5 minutes from now, 5 weeks from now, 5 years from now? How do I make choices? How do I create experiences and pull from past experiences that support those intentions? And that is where so much magic and enchantment can happen. So I just put that out there. It's a tool I teach clients. I've shared all over the place in lots of ways, and I highly recommend it as something very simple to stop and pause and ask yourself. So let me know what you think about this. I can't wait to hear and how you're using it and what you're finding and what kind of information you're gathering as a result. If you are not already part of my Facebook group, come on over, Everyday Enchantment. Talk to me about this topic or anything about creating more ease and fun in life using intuitive superpowers and enchantment the easy way. Come on over and chat with us. And did I say and already? I'm anding again because I got a big and right in my last name. So I use and all the time. It's part of my magic. Sometimes it's hard to get started. It's hard to really shift out of a pattern. Maybe you have been kind of sucked into these experiences and life has felt heavy. It has felt stuck. I get that. I've been in those places. And so, getting a guide, getting somebody one-on-one to help you reestablish and renegotiate some of these things, like with that beautiful container of support. Amazing. So you can find out all about getting a coaching session or program with me in the show notes. So again, I would love to hear how you're using this. Let me know. And until next time, I will talk to you soon. That's it for now, loves. Thank you for tuning into this episode. Get all the juicy details and links we've mentioned in the show notes. If learning more about how you can use your own enchantment to live a oh hell yes life, come get your own coaching session with me by going to staceyandon.com and signing up for my homepage. And as always, come chat with me about this topic and all things enchantment in my Facebook group, Everyday Enchantment. See you on the flip side.